Is current Councillor-at-Large Noel DiBona.
Thank you, Mark. I just want to thank the Merrymount Association for giving me the opportunity to talk here tonight. Can everybody hear me correctly? Okay. If anybody doesn't know me, my name is Noel DiBona. I'm the current Councillor-at-Large here in the city of Quincy. I grew up here in the city, in the Quincy Point section, and I now live here in Merrymount, a couple streets over on Chickatobit Road, with my 3 children and my wife, Neve. We have Tyler, Aiden, and little baby Nora, 4, 2, and 1 years old. So I'm a very young family growing up here. I was educated through the Quincy Public Schools. I graduated Quincy High School in 1993. I furthered my education right across the way here at University of Massachusetts, Boston, with a bachelor's degree. I'm a small business owner. I'm a blue-collar guy. 21 years with my father right over here, Russ DiBona, and Son Landscaping. You know, my road to politics wasn't involved in politics. If you really look at me, I'm really not a politician. I'm a community activist. I started out as a community activist starting in 2011. I started coaching the childhood team, the Quincy Point Panthers, and I'm in my 7th year right now of doing that. I mentor and coach 7th and 8th graders in the Quincy Point section in the Quincy Youth Football League. I look forward to that every season, mentoring the kids in the community. I'm also a junior vice commander for the Sons of the American Legion at Morissette Post 294. We do the Flags for Veterans Island over at Fort Square, the beautiful island of 400 flags. And I've been an active member with that over the years, so I'm an activist for veterans as well. Before I got onto the school committee and then the Councillor-at-Large, I served 2 years on the Park and Recreation Board here in the city of Quincy. I did 2 years of that, and then I got onto the school committee. I ran for that 4 years ago and won, and was a school committee member for 2 years. In these last 2 years, I've been a Councillor-at-Large here in the city. I like to take note that I have a perfect record up there. I attend every meeting. I have not missed one meeting, one vote. I'm very serious about the job. And some of the issues that have come across in the last 2 years of being on the council, for me as an at-large councillor, it's a little bit different than a ward council where you have a territory. I try to deal with areas and issues that deal with the whole city. One of the main issues that I've been working on as an at-large councillor, and I put a resolution forward in March, is the opioid epidemic that we have and we face here in the city of Quincy and all across the United States, even the world. In the mid-90s, they came out with that bad drug that came out for cancer patients, Oxycontin. And what happened was years down the road, the opioid, Vicodin, Percocet, has transferred over to that heroin. And I'm talking about it here tonight because we need to talk about this. We're not going to put it under the rug and not talk about it. We're going to talk about it. It's been an issue that is near and dear to my heart. People breaking into cars, people breaking into houses. Some of the things that are very important to me is public safety, education, and infrastructure improvements. Education always going to be first. Being on the school committee in the last few years, I was able to have a relationship with the different principals and the superintendent. When I got up to the council, I was ready. I was ready to be able to be an at-large councillor coming from the school committee, having that relationship. I always have to educate sometimes my colleagues on the budget, $2.9 million budget for schools. And they're saying, well, why don't you take some of that money out of it and pay for some of the technology advancements? We have to keep up with technology in our schools. We just came out with a bond to upgrade our IT, smart boards, notepads, which is very, very important to our city. Our children are the future of our city. We have to pave the way and allow a good public school system with building new schools. We're Quincy High School in 2010, we have Central in 2013, and we're working on Sterling. Being on the school committee, I was on the Sterling Building Committee as well. I know a lot about being in the Merrymount and being a president. I was the Ward 2 Civic Association president back in 2013. So getting onto the council prior to that, I really am a community activist, and I continue to be a community activist out there, traveling around to all the different neighborhood associations throughout the city of Quincy and finding out the needs that are going on in that different community. I would like this to be every community in every neighborhood in the city of Quincy, just like we are right now. Safe, nice atmosphere, children walking around talking, and being able to have this in front of us. This is my vision of Quincy. The reason why I got into politics is I wanted to better Quincy. The love that I have for the city of Quincy is what I continue to do at that council level. You know, there's a lot of people running this year, obviously, and over the last 4 years, I've been in 3 citywide elections. We talk about knocking on a lot of doors and finding out what people's needs are and what's going on out there in the city of Quincy. It's a changing city as we look at it every day. But I want to make sure that it's my little boy here already right in front of me. I'm always chasing him around. And, is to make sure it's a safe city for our kids and also our seniors. I visit a lot of the senior centers and see this public safety in front of them, in their crosswalks. We've got to make sure that, what do I do at the city council level? Is I try to facilitate the proper funding and resources for the administration and the mayor to do their jobs. That's what I'm supposed to do, and be the checks and balances of the mayor and the administration. And that's what I'll continue to do. But it's very important that we have that checks and balances, and that we have different opinions and different styles. And that's what makes it so unique in a strong mayor government, is to have that city council of 9 members, 3 at-large councilors. We're probably going to get into questions. I wanted to talk a little bit about who I am as a person, what I'm really all about, what I bring to the table as a community activist and / politician. But in a nutshell is, when you think of me or when you look at me, I hope you would think that family man. This guy's a family man. He's very involved with his children, with his family. He's a community activist. He cares about veterans. He cares about the community. You also think about me as the opioid guy that's going to work on this. We're going to have more meetings starting back up in September. We'll have a public forum where we'll allow people to come in and speak what they want to do, because I want to hear from the people. That's very important for us to tackle this at a city, at a state level, working with people like John Keenan at the state level, working with other activists like Nancy Haller in the House Neck that lost her son, working with other people together collaboratively for the common goal to make Quincy a better place to live, a safer place to live. All I ask from you is you get 3 votes for Councillor-at-Large, 3 people you can vote for. I humbly ask all of you for one of those 3 votes. Thank you.
Noel, a question that's been asked tonight but is very important. What's your plan moving forward to assist long-term residents who are struggling to stay in Quincy with the rising rental rates, rising property taxes? How do you see putting a stop or a halt to property tax rates in Quincy?
That's a very good question, and to give you the answer for that is, you have to strike a balance in the city. As I'm walking around the city in the last 4 years, I've been seeing a lot of turnover in the houses. I see a lot of younger families coming into some of these households, trying to raise a family. Some of the seniors are coming into these houses, but you have to strike a balance with that, Mark. And what some of them are telling me at the doorsteps is, I want services. Well, if you're going to have services, it's going to cost funding for that. Well, some other people say, well, we have to cut back on our taxes. How do we strike the balance in the middle of this? You get 2 sides of the coin here. And I go to each household, it's very different. Very different conversation at that porch, because there's different interests for each one of them. How do you correlate that together and strike the balance between the 2? Well, the downtown development that's happening right now, Wallaston development, North Quincy development, we need to funnel more of commercial real estate in the city. And I spoke about this 2 years ago running for Councillor-at-Large. It's time to come in with the commercial real estate to offset the residential tax rate, which is going on in the city. We are a city, we're 94,000 plus, but we hear about the apartments and the condominiums being in here. Is it going to help out the tax bracket for the residential single-family people in the city? We have to strike that balance and correlate that moving forward with the city of Quincy. Education, public safety, it's police and fire, and we talked about infrastructure improvements. You've got to do those main points first, and everything will follow. So to give you an answer with that is commercial real estate, quality of life, and you have to balance it and strike it for everyone. Finding out, moving it forward with Councillor Palmucci's brought it about forward, we're looking to investigate a little bit more, is holding back on some of the variances of these houses with the building. I don't want to see a single family become a two-family anymore. I'm not going to hear that anymore at the doorstep, because more dwellings, more housing, more cars, more traffic. I hear it every day when I get to the doorsteps, that we have to kind of hold tight on that situation. So in a nutshell, Mark, is we have to build on our commercial real estate, we have to level out our spending, and we have to keep the main criterias in there. We do have a problem with the roads out there. Besides traffic, I think roads is second in demand for the people out there in the city. We have to do infrastructure improvements. When you tear up some of these streets, you find out underneath it's a very old city, and you have to repair underneath, and it costs several millions of dollars. So looking at the causeway over there in Squantum, it costs almost close to $2 million to perform and do. So that tells you a little bit rough figure of how much it costs. So when you talk about residential, looking for possible abatements down the road, but at the same token, giving the services that we have in the city with beautiful parks and purification and nice grass fields. So there's a combination of things that you have to strike.
Okay, one quick question. We got about a minute or two, Noel. Spoke of the traffic issues. We have a traffic engineer in Quincy. I believe there was supposed to be a traffic plan developed, and then it came to the attention that not much had been done on that, or that it wasn't ready. What's the city council's role, and what's your plan for alleviating some of the traffic issues that we've seen in the city the last few years?
It's a very good question. I've been answering at almost every doorstep. There's two sides of the coin here. I'm ready to vote on a comprehensive traffic study throughout the city of Quincy. But there's another side of the coin here. There's another group of people that say, wait a minute, if you lived here long enough, you know each road, you know there's only so many traveled roads that you have to get to. Why don't you start hiring junior engineers, traffic engineers now? Start mitigating traffic and going into the neighborhoods now. Where do we strike that pose? How do we need to talk about it at the city council level and figure out where we're gonna go on this. My opinion on it, probably both, a little bit of both. We need to get people out here experienced, skilled, specializing in that field to mitigate this traffic, because it's an issue throughout the city of Quincy. I go down Quincy Shore Drive to pick up my boy Jack and Jill over at Marina Bay, and there are traffic concerns. I hear it throughout the city, anywhere you go, traffic. How do you mitigate it? Combination of the two. Comprehensive traffic study to find out where the problems are in the city, where the issues are, and then hiring junior traffic engineers to help out and mitigate the TPAL division that we formerly just have. Traffic, parking, alarm, and lighting, which is a new division set aside just for these traffic mitigations. But I, as a city councilor, have got to do something, because we can't continue to keep it the way it is. Thank you.
So that's going to wrap up the time for Noel. So give him a round of applause, please. All right.